Hi everyone, today we are going to start our new unit, so make sure to open to a new set of pages in your notebook. Label the left side table of contents and the right side is your unit cover page. And for this unit, we are talking about weather. So here are the notes that go into your notebook. It is linked in the assignment for today. And I want you to copy these notes into your notebook. But like we did last time, I'm gonna use some slides so I can show you some pictures. And it's the exact same information. The slides just have some more visuals so you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so to start off our unit on weather, we are gonna be talking about the tools that we use to measure and understand weather. So here are just directions in case you're doing it on your own. And our learning target for today is that we can describe how to measure weather using weather tools. So what is weather exactly? It's a term that we use a lot in life, but the specific definition in science about weather is that weather is describing what is happening in the atmosphere, which is like the air above us, that up in the sky is the atmosphere, at a specific place in time. So I could describe the weather as it is a overcast, rainy day with a chance of hail. And that is the weather for the day. Do not confuse that with the seasons. The seasons are different, right? That's climate. That changes based off of the Earth's rotation and tilt, which we'll talk about next unit. But weather is describing what's actually happening. So is it raining? Is it hailing? Is it overcast, which means clouds? If it's spring, fall, winter, or summer, that's not weather. That's the climate for that season. So some tools that we use to measure weather. The one you're probably most familiar with is a thermometer. And therm means heat. So if you ever see that prefix, which means the part at the beginning of the word, that prefix therm means heat. So thermometers measure the air temperature in degrees Celsius. So remember, in science, we use Celsius because that's the science unit. We don't use Fahrenheit because only Americans use Fahrenheit, and science is a global subject, so we have to use what everyone else in the world uses. Next, we have a barometer. So a barometer measures air pressure. Air pressure is the weight of air molecules pressing down on Earth. So there's tons of teeny little molecules that make up the air, and gravity pushes it down on Earth, and we can measure that using a barometer. As you go out into the higher layers of the atmosphere, so when you're in a plane up in the sky, the air pressure gets lower. So next tool is an anemometer. An anemometer measures wind speed. So if you want to draw a picture of this in your notebook, I think that would be helpful for you. And an anemo is basically like these cups that rotate, and how fast is moving tells us the speed of the wind. And you can see in this picture here, it has some dials, so it actually records how fast the wind is moving. And that's how you get like, the wind is 30 miles per hour today, because we have these tools that measure it. Next is a weather vane, and if you've been out to a farm or some older houses have these. Weather vanes measure the direction of the wind. So they tend to be kind of cute if they're on a house. So this one has a rooster on it, and then it has the 4 cardinal directions: north, south, east, and west. And depending on where the rooster is pointing, it's going to tell us what direction the wind is going. Next is a rain gauge. A rain gauge, or some people say gauge, but gauge, collects and measures the amount of rainfall or precipitation a certain area has. So you might have this in your backyard, but it is a common little tool that people just have out in their backyard. See, this one's like stuck to the ground. and every time it rains, you can measure in milliliters how much rain fell based off how much rain was collected inside of the rain gauge. Next, we have a psychrometer. It's a hard word to say even for me. A psychrometer and a hygrometer. So psychrometer, hygrometer. Takes some practice to say. It's a weird word. But both of those tools measure the amount of humidity in the air. And you might have said that word before without knowing the definition. And I know for me, when it's really humid, like my hair gets really frizzy. And it's because humidity means the amount of moisture or water vapor in the air. So if there's a lot of water in the air, my hair, because I have curly hair, gets really poofy because all of the water is making it stand up. So you might be familiar with humidity feels like, especially in the summer here in Virginia. You go outside and you're like immediately sweating and it kind of feels like you're inside of water. That's the way I describe it. So humidity is the amount of water vapor in the air. And we use a psychrometer and a hygrometer to measure it. So here's just some fun fact of how meteorologists use these tools. And remember, meteorologists are the people who go on TV usually and are describing what the weather is like for the day. What you probably don't see is behind the scenes, meteorologists are doing a ton of science and data and looking at pictures from space so they can understand what the weather looks like. However, even though we have all of these tools that help meteorologists make predictions about the weather, it is not 100% certain. These tools help us make really good predictions using science and data, but still science cannot predict the future. So we will never quite know what the weather is for the day, which I'm sure you've experienced. Sometimes they say it's going to be a sunny, beautiful day, and then it's raining all day. So these tools help us have a better idea of what's happening, but they are not future predictors. They can't see into the future. They just help us use science to predict, but sometimes we're wrong in our predictions. So these are just some more details that you're welcome to read through about how meteorologists use these tools to help them predict the weather when you hear your daily weather report on your phone or on the news. Next up, there's a short little just review if you want to do. So we can do the first one together and the rest you can do on your own by clicking through the slides. So what weather tool is this? It has 4 cardinal directions, and this one, instead of a rooster, has a pretty little swan. You're right, it's a weather vane, which measures direction of the wind. So feel free to go through this and quiz yourself on some other tools. And when you're done, please complete the quiz on Schoology so I can know that you were able to review and understand this lesson. Thank you.